Welcome everyone, and it is really exciting for me today. I have the inventor, Ray Richardson, the inventor of the MetaLisse card. Ray, it's so awesome that you were able to join me today.
Hi Rita, how are you? Lovely to be here.
Oh, it's great that you are with us. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions because everyone's really excited about the MetaLisse technology. So first of all, Ray, can you please introduce yourselves to the wider audience that will be watching this interview?
Okay, my name is Ray Richardson. I'm based in Australia. I've been involved with the bioresonance technology for well over 15 years now. Our company was distributing a bioresonance product for treatment of diesel fuel and to make it burn better and create less emissions. So heavy vehicle industries, mining, power station generation, shipping. So it was all the big stuff, big corporate enterprises involved with us in doing that. So we proceeded along with that for many years, and it's about 8 years ago we got involved with, it was a Friday afternoon, and where we usually had our wind down for the week. Okay, let's stop work and wind down, have a glass of wine, and just discuss where we'd been for the week, what was coming up for the next week, and in a social atmosphere. And we had this light bulb moment. We were drinking a rather young red wine, and somebody remarked, "What a shame we can't change the wine the same as we change the diesel." And everybody looked at one another and we thought, wait a minute, maybe we can. So very excited conversations went on, and the afternoon went well into the night actually, because we were discussing how we would do this. And so we're looking at writing a brief for it. And one of the things that came to mind was we remembered part of our research looking at Nikola Tesla's work. Research, thousands of hours of research to get to the point where we were. And I remember him saying in 1926, he said, in the future, everyone on the planet will carry a portable device which will allow them to talk to everybody else on the planet, and it will fit in their coat pocket. So we thought,
I must have thought he was insane.
Yeah. So that was our brief. We need to have a device if we're going to treat red wine. And then we started to think, okay, other drinks, food, but we need to have a device that will fit in your coat pocket or your purse and be available to the wide range of personal consumers, for personal use. Other technology was all about big corporate enterprise.
So with the other technology, so you started off doing the technology where you were treating diesel. How many years did you do that for?
That's still ongoing. There's another device in development at the moment, which is sort of an upgraded model. Over 15 years, we started back then firstly with water, and then but very quickly got into diesel because that was where the savings were to be made. So we've had many years of experience in the field of bioresonance.
And so can you talk about some of the corporate clients that you had with that first technology, which is still current?
A lot of it, we don't like to name them, of course, because but major trucking companies in Australia. We did work with overseas trucking companies, with the big airline industry in South Korea, Nigeria, with the telecommunications industry, with their power generation, or mining companies in remote places where they couldn't bring reticulated power in, they had to generate on site. A couple of the major coal mining companies where we're treating the diesel for their machinery, or mostly loading of the coal trains. And one of the things we did as a charity case, when I say charity case, it was a no charge case, because my business partner and I were very passionately involved with Sea Shepherd. and their Save the Whales campaign down in Antarctica. So we gifted our technology to them and fitted out a couple of their ships.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, very, very pleasing result.
So tell us about the result.
One of the ships was able to, and again, we don't like to name them because there are people out there spy on the organisation to find out how come they can do as well as they do. But one of the ships used to have to return to New Zealand twice during a campaign. And we found that that it was 10 days off station, and that's 10 days each time, 5 days back to New Zealand to refuel, 5 days back to the Antarctic. And so they were able to remain on station for a longer period of time and only have to return once. So that's 10 days that they were able to be there, interfering with the illegal whale harvest. Probably saved a couple of hundred whales. So
Wow.
we're very proud of our involvement.
Wow, congratulations. That is just awesome, Ray. What a great gift, a give back to the community. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone.
You're welcome.
So Ray, with the diesel technology, that was on a much larger scale. And then over those Friday night drinks, you were talking about, why can't you do this? You do it with diesel. Why can't you use this technology with red wine? And so tell me, how did it get from this huge device to a small card?
Okay, so again, reflecting back to the inspiration came from Nikola Tesla about being able to carry something in your pocket. Because I thought nobody's going to walk around with something the size of a violin case to take to restaurants and bars, etc., for treating their drinks and their food. So it had to be something that you just pulled out of your pocket, and you could just do that. So that was the brief, and of course what we did, we made things very difficult for ourselves because of the size. We had to spend 2 years to get a product made of the material that we did, to be able to engineer the bioresonance into the card so that it was powerful enough to do what it needed to do, was to make a dramatic change. And of course, there were a lot of high five moments when we finally pulled it off. And to be honest, we were thinking, well, there's probably going to be a subtle change, but the change in the taste of the red wine was dramatic. It was so dramatic that we got very excited about what we'd actually achieved.
Yeah, it's just incredible. So now your journey has been for so many years. Can you tell us about those early days when you managed to get the technology down to the size of a bank card?
Okay, so, and that was it. It fitted into the whole idea of, particularly for men's wallets. They're designed to carry credit cards, bank cards, that sort of thing. So we thought, okay, it has to be that size. And for ladies also carry wallets and purses, so fitted it into there. So once we'd pulled that off, we thought, okay, so now we have to take this out to the rest of the world. It's no good just having one for Friday afternoon drinks. Everybody in the world needs this card because we found such a dramatic improvement. And so we engaged the services of a master of wine. That was exciting. We met him at his office in one morning for a half-hour appointment. He cancelled all his appointments for the rest of the day because he was so impressed. And we had to get a cab home because we tried it with so many of his different wines that we thought, well, nobody's driving, at this stage, because it was exciting. And his words were, he came up with like a one-liner that said, this classy device adds zip and freshness to your wine. And this is a master of wine. I mean, there's only about 400 MWs, and they actually have MW after their name. There's only about 400 of them in the world. So to get to that status, you've really made it. You know what you're talking about.
Right.
And so we went on from there then. We were emboldened by that. So we then entered into an innovation competition, which attracts entries from all over the world. And very excited because there's thousands of entries and they get narrowed down to what they call the top 100 and then the top 10. And we came 8th in the top 10 innovations submitted from all around the world. And of course, this is all peer reviewed by people that have no background in what we do. They just know how to test the card.
What year was that you won the?
That was about in 2016. We had actually won a similar award for our diesel technology. Again, an innovation award. And so then we finally spent some time with wine clubs, etc. And one of the wine clubs, we did a double-blind tasting. So the members of the wine club thought they were tasting 2 different whites and 2 different reds from different vineyards, and they had to rate them. And of course, what they didn't know, we were out the back with our bioresonance card, treating one of the samples of each wine. We came out with 9 out of 10 preferred the harmonized white, and 7 out of 8 preferred the harmonized red. And when we came clean and told them what we'd done, one of the gentlemen in the panel came forward and introduced himself, and he was an emeritus professor of engineering. And his comment was, "What you gentlemen have done is technically impossible. But yet, I see you've done it. How did you do it?" And I said, "With due respect, sir, that how we did it is our intellectual property. This has taken years of development. Right. And you won't read about it in engineering textbooks. It is an engineering breakthrough. At some time in the future, of course, it will make it into the textbooks. So MetaLisse it's ahead of its time, yes, I'll agree, but it's available for everybody to use now."
So for those who don't know, can you elaborate more on this intellectual property terminology?
The intellectual property means that it's like our trade secret. Mm-hmm. One of the examples that I think of is that Guinness Stout is brewed worldwide in different breweries. However, the seed for the brewing it's a secret recipe, and it's only known to a few. And so the seed is flown into each of the breweries direct from Dublin. And the brewers that are making the Guinness Stout, which I like, don't know what's in the seed, but they use it anyway. And it's similar with perfume makers. They will make essences to produce a certain scent, and the recipe for that is closely guarded.
Of course.
You can enjoy the perfume or the aftershave or cologne, but you don't necessarily know exactly how it's made and what the ingredients are. So that's what's called intellectual property. And although we're willing to share our technology with the rest of the world, we are very secretive about how we actually embed the bioresonance into the card to make it do what it does.
Understood. Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for explaining that. So I have a MetaLisse card here with me. Ray, please tell everyone, what does the MetaLisse card do?
Okay, so MetaLisse is embedded with a long-lasting bioresonance. And this bioresonance, when applied to drink or food, causes a change in the molecular dynamics within that food and or drink. And it's a process we call harmonizing, right? So making it more palatable, bringing out the flavors, etc.
And can you tell us what is bioresonance?
Okay, so bioresonance, we're really breaking that into a couple of, let's break it down, bio and resonance. So everything on the planet, whether it's animal or innate has a resonance. Everything is vibrating. It's all made up of atoms and molecules and they're all different structures, and it has a vibration. Although we can't feel it, everything is moving. Even the table, the chair that we're sitting out or on is moving also. So bioresonance coupled with bio is that it's a compatible resonance that we've placed or embedded into the card to make it compatible with all living things, bio meaning. So whether it's plant or whether it's animal, they can all benefit from the application of the resonance that we specifically micro-engineered into the card.
Okay, so it's like a vibration has been micro-engineered into the card?
Yes, yes.
Right.
So it's emitting from that symbol on the front of the card. So the little symbol that's embedded or debossed into the card, the resonance is emanating from that. So it's, yeah, so it's able to be directed when you put it close by items of food or drink, is directed into them to just change the molecular structure of the dynamics that are existing within the food or the drink.
Right. Okay. And so tell us a bit about the metal that's used in the card.
Okay, so it's a composite metal. We have a supplier offshore that makes the base cards for us, and predominantly the metal in the card is a high-grade stainless steel, commonly known as food grade stainless, so that if you actually happen to drop it into your drink or food, it's not going to contaminate it with any adverse things. And of course, it's very hard wearing as well, although the cards will mark in time with use, the same as any other product that you buy. It's called stainless steel, not stain-free. So the metal is specifically designed so that it's compatible with our engineering process.
And is it magnetic? Will it affect us going through airport security?
No, magnetic at all. And a good example, I say to people, look, if you want to test whether it's magnetic or not, get a paper clip. And if you can get a paper clip, you're holding it vertically, I'll give you $100 if you can get the paper clip to stay there. Nothing to do with magnetism. There are magnetic products out in the marketplace, I know of, but ours is a resonance, not magnetic. So it won't affect any of your credit cards or anything. You can carry it next to them in your wallet. You can go through airport scanners. Of course, it's metal, so it's going to show up in the scanner. Conversely, the scanner is not going to affect the performance of the card.
Right. Can you tell us, how does the MetaLisse card work? Okay,
so we know that water is the major component in all food and drink, particularly vegetables, 80 to 90% water. Everything we drink, even like vodka, tequila, for example, a spirit is 60% water. So it's the bond with the water molecule and the other components in the food or the drink that we make a positive change to its structure. And by doing this change to its molecular structure, we're able to subdue a lot of the harsh chemicals or components, acids, alkalines, and bring out the flavor. So it's sort of a bit like flipping one over the top of the other. They're still there, but what you notice is the harshness dissipates, it goes down, and the flavor lifts. So doing the treatment with the card allows people to experience a much more flavorsome, tasteful world in their food and their drink.
Oh, that's awesome. And can you tell us, how do we use it?
Okay, so using the card is very simple. It's not magic. It's an engineering process. So therefore, if we're going to say, take a glass of water, And to use the card, it's the symbol on the card. You see the little spiral symbol there. That's the active part of the card. That must go close to where you've got your liquid in your glass, and you just try to get away from my face. Just move it either up and down or in a circular motion for 15 seconds. The whole idea of moving the card is if you left the card there stationary, it's going to take a little bit longer to work, or you can move the glass. But irrespective, the resonance is transferring from the card through the glass. It doesn't make any difference what sort of container you've got. That can be a can of soda or soft drink. It can be a ceramic cup of tea or coffee. Makes no difference to MetaLisse. The resonance will transfer through into the liquid that's there. And so then the experience is all in the taste.
Right, so 15 seconds.
Yeah, so just for 15 seconds, and then you've got this like water, you've got this beautiful spring type mountain dew, as we might call it, that it changed ordinary or bottled tap water into something that's a hell of a lot more palatable.
Oh, that's really exciting. So, Ray, can you tell us, have you come across anyone that's used the technology and they haven't managed to taste a difference?
Yes, there is about 10% of the world's population through our research. And this came up when we found somebody that didn't notice a difference. And then when we questioned them a bit further, they didn't, they ate food and drank drinks just for the sake of staying alive. They couldn't taste anything before or after the card, so they weren't able to tell the difference. So we have about 4,000 taste buds, average, between 2,000 and 4,000 taste buds on our tongue. They're divided into zones. It's a very complex mechanism. However, some people are very deficient in what we call papillae, which are your taste buds, and some people have none at all. And that can be brought on by medical condition, etc., or it could even be a genetic defect. So unfortunately for those people, they may not notice a difference in the food, but the majority of the world's population will notice a positive improvement in the taste of drink and food.
Yeah. Oh, what a shame for those people, because I know that I have really been enjoying the positive taste experiences that I've had since I've been using the MetaLisse card. What drinks can I use the MetaLisse card on?
Okay, so of course, when we first started this journey, it was all about, well, let's fix the red wine. Let's take a younger wine and see if we can soften it a bit. And of course, that's what we did. During the experimentation, of course, then it was moving on to other things. So it was not only wines, it was water, of course, and fruit juices, any type of spirits, beers. So if you can imagine whatever it is that you drink, you can use MetaLisse with it to enhance its flavor. Now, I must point out here at this stage that some people will experience things where, particularly a sharp lager beer that they may like, they may really enjoy, and then they find, oh, wait a minute, MetaLisse has made that a little bit too soft for me. I know there's one beer that I drink that I prefer not to treat, but 99.9% of what I drink, I treat with MetaLisse to get that positive improvement. And particularly the heavier and darker beers, the full flavor beers, it really brings out the flavor of those. So smoothies, sports drinks are another one as well. Tea, coffee. Coffee is brilliant because the people that normally add or take sugar in their coffee, I was one of these people that did 3 spoons of sugar in a cup of coffee because I didn't like the bitterness. And of course, with MetaLisse now, I don't have any added sugar at all. because the bitterness of the coffee, or the acidic taste, is suppressed, and I get the nice aromas and tastes coming out in the coffee. So I really enjoy it. So I went.
Oh, you're making me want a coffee now, Ray. So what about food, Ray? What kind of foods can we use it on?
Well, food is surprisingly very, very enhanced by the MetaLisse. And so all of your fruits, any plate of food that you sit down to eat, particularly you'll find that some of the more spicier foods, sometimes you think, oh wow, that's a bit too hot for me, like a really hot curry. It doesn't kill the heat altogether. But what it does is it will bring the flavors of all the spices up above the heat. So you'll still have the hotness there, or the heat from curry and chili dishes, but you'll have that gets suppressed, and you get the flavors of all those spices really come to the fore. But when you're talking about a food, it's everything that you want to eat, fruit particularly. And we waste a lot of fruit because often you buy it from the supermarket. So to get it into the market, it has to be picked early. And it's often not allowed to ripen on the vine. It's allowed to ripen on the journey from the farm to the supermarket shelf. So what we find, particularly, say, with strawberries, for example, if you treat a strawberry that's sometimes can be a little bit sour because it didn't ripen on the vine, all of a sudden you're tasting a nice ripened strawberry. So it kills off that green bitterness that was there. So often, I found in the past, you might buy some fruit, for instance, and then think, oh, it's a little bit sour. I might just sort of make jam out of it or throw it away. What we find now is that you're not throwing anything away. So it is cutting down on waste, which is important as well. So anything that you can imagine, and of course, with a plate of food, we can't sort of put that into a glass. So using the MetaLisse, you just hover that over the food, about a hand's breadth above the food. So just in a, there's no set pattern. You can do a figure eight, you can do it in a circular motion, you can just wave it backwards and forwards. But again, do the 15 seconds, allow the resonance to penetrate the food.
Okay, so can you show us how to do that? Can you show us how we would do it?
Yeah, right. So it just, with the card horizontal, with the symbol facing the food. So if you imagine that's a plate of food, my hand there. So it's just hovering it above the food. So if you want to do a fancy pattern, that's up to you, but just make sure that you cover all of the food. So 15 seconds. Now, I'm a pepper lover. I like my pepper steak. But what I find with the pepper taste is that I'm getting this nice, rich, peppery flavor without necessarily all of the heat. So again, it's sort of working on the oil in the peppercorn and bringing out that beautiful pepper flavor.
Oh, wow. It sounds wonderful. Well, I know that there are absolutely millions of foodies out there that would really benefit from experiencing this technology. So that's really amazing, Ray. For the foodies out there, can you take us through a taste comparison experience?
Okay. So let's step back about 8 years. And this is how it all started. 2 glasses of red wine. This is a nice Pinot Noir. It's a young wine, and of course, would do well if I had allowed it to age a little. But generally, in the liquor outlets, it's very difficult to buy wines that have been vintaged or laid down for any number of years. So what we do then for a taste comparison, just have your 2 glasses. And what I've done is I'm setting them apart, only about, 18 inches, half a meter apart.
And why are you doing that? Why
now
are
the
you
reason being is that, remember, we've got the resonance jumping or emanating from the front of the card, and it's passing through the glass into the wine. Now, if we have the glasses side by side, what will happen is it will pass into the first glass of wine, through and out the other side into the second one, right? So it's a possibility, you know, it depends on how long you treat them. So just so that we have a controlled sample, we keep the glasses apart so that there's no accident going to happen with the harmonizing. And so again, it's simply take the glass of red wine and hold the symbol of the card. It can touch the glass. It's not necessary to do that, but you can touch the glass. And we just move it backwards and forwards, all around in a circle. It doesn't matter, just for 15 seconds. So what's happening is the resonance is passing from the card in through the glass into the wine. Now, what happens here, of course, is that we're now interfering or using the resonance to impact on the molecular structures within the wine itself. Wine, of course, being about 80% water, that's attracting that. Now, with red wine, always smell the red wine first, because what happens is, again, by impacting the molecular structure of the wine, sometimes it will release sulfites that are in the wine, like naturally occurring or from preservatives. We found this in our testing. Why does the wine have this sort of sulfur or foul or egg smell? And then we realized that the bonds within the wine and the components are breaking up, right? So we're getting smaller clusters. If it does have a little bit of a sour or pungent smell, simply blow in the glass to clear it. Now, we always taste the red wine or the harmonized wine, first, because that sets the palate standard for the rest of the tasting. If we tasted the unharmonized one first, you may have residual sourness or bitterness from the wine staying in the mouth, and it can confuse the palate. Right. So what we're doing here is we're tasting this one first. Nice. How does that taste? Beautiful. Very fruity, and this is what you find particularly with wines. It will bring out the fruit. It smooths the wine out. It doesn't have that harsh, you know, sort of sharp taste of a young wine. So somebody said to me once, "Oh, it's like fast forwarding your wine 5 years." And I thought, well, that's a good example. So, and then pick up the other one that's nowhere near the card, of course. Oh, yes, and taste that. Now, that's typical of the wine that I was drinking before. It has, on the palate, has a bit of a harsh taste, you know, from the youngness of the wine. And that's all it is. You know, it's not a bad wine. It's a good wine. But what we've been able to do with the harmonized one, of course, is just fast forward a little bit, break up some of the clusters within the wine, release the fruit, the flavor, so much more more palatable. Now, this is typical of you know, of wines, and although I'm an enthusiast and a connoisseur of wines, I'm not an expert, and that was why we first went off to see the master of wine, who was blown away, and the adjectives that he was using was just yeah, sensational. And then recently, we had the pleasure of the company of a wine judge, and who had never heard of our technology before. And so we did this exact same comparison test, and she was amazed at how the flavor, you know, came out, and the, you know, the fast forwarding, as we talked about, and she said the wine has taken on a maturity that would not, you would normally have to wait some years for. So MetaLisse has become a time machine for wine.
I really like that, and I'm sure a lot of wine lovers would love to get their hands on this technology so they can experience this for themselves. Ray, I actually had a bad experience in Belarus when I thought I was drinking water that was at a restaurant, and I was actually drinking vodka, and it burned down my throat. Can you tell me, how does MetaLisse work with alcoholic spirits?
Okay, well, I've got some pleasant news for you here.
Great.
Generally, what happens is, again, we're looking at the burning part of the spirits is an adverse reaction, and of course, MetaLisse is designed to reverse all that and suppress the the adverse thing. So, what you'll find with you can do that same test comparison that I did with the red wine. Put a couple of shots of vodka or tequila or bourbon or whatever your favorite spirit is. And even ones that you might not, I know you're probably avoiding vodka because of, or did avoid vodka after that, because you're thinking, oh, I don't want to go through that experience again.
Mhm.
So what you find is that with MetaLisse, the harmonizing effect on the vodka is amazing. What you'll get is the nice flavors out of the vodka without that harsh burning down the back of the throat. All right, and you have this lingering sort of sweetness or earthiness, depending upon what's being used in the process of distilling it. Particularly with gin, you'll get the aromatics come out without that burning flavor, the burning sensation. So what you can do is, to prove this, you can do that same comparison, with 2 shots. So you'll find that, if you've had an unfortunate experience with spirits, it's a whole new world. Particularly, I wasn't a big tequila fan, but now I absolutely love tequila, and I find that the drink actually lasts a lot longer because you can sip it and it's not burning. You don't have to get that over and done with. You can just
Mhm.
sip the drink and appreciate the flavors that are coming out in the drink.
Well, I am a big tequila fan. So can you just go through again, so how do we do the taste comparison with the spirits?
So the same thing, just get a couple of little shot glasses, put an ounce, which is your typical shot, in each glass, and of course take your card. There's your shot glass.
Mm-hmm.
Right, harmonize the shot of vodka, tequila, bourbon, whiskey, whatever it is that you're wanting to drink. 15 seconds, of course, and then taste it.
Right.
And you can throw the whole shot down. I've had some rather, drink it like it is a shot and just appreciate the flavor of it as it goes down.
Mhm.
And then think, okay, that was too nice. I'll pick up the other one now that hasn't been harmonized and drink that, and you'll get the burning sensation. So what happens is, once you've got MetaLisse, there's no going back. It's
Yep.
you sort of say, okay, I'm going to use that with all of my shots now, or all of my drinks.
Right.
Particularly if you're drinking just a raw spirit with no additives in it or no mixes. Brilliant.
So that's really exciting that it takes away that alcohol burn that we experience in the throat. So can you tell me, does the MetaLisse card affect the alcoholic content of drinks?
I'd already be a billionaire, of course, if it did, but unfortunately, no. We're not. All we're doing here is suppressing the effect of the alcohol on the taste. Very important, and bringing the flavors to the top. So we're just flipping that over. So the alcohol is still there, still lurking, and so that's one of the things that you have to be wary of course, is always drink responsibly, and don't think that MetaLisse is going to make you bulletproof. So yes, the alcohol is still there.
Okay.
and it will still affect you, as if you hadn't done the harmonizing.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Ray, we've spoken a lot about alcoholic drinks. Can you also give us an explanation of what people will experience with the non-alcoholic drinks?
Okay, so this is important. I mean, we don't drink alcohol all day, every day. Generally, it tends to be on a social occasion, but all of your smoothies, for instance, or fruit juices, orange juice, for instance, tends to be a little bit less tarty. So again, with you've had citric acid in a lot of the orange, citrus drinks, of course, and so it tends to again suppress that, so that the flavors come out over the top. Smoothies, particularly if they're made with fruit that's not quite ripe, you'll find that again, smoothies can be a little bit bitter, and often people will add sugar or some sort of component to make the smoothie a little bit sweeter. No need to do that with MetaLisse, because what that does is all of the bitterness generally comes from an acid in the fruit, and so that will get suppressed. So you move on to things like tea and coffee. And I think I touched on that before, that in coffee there's actually 5 acids, and so it's quite it can be quite bitter, and this is why people add a lot of sugar to coffee, or they'll add cream or milk to coffee to try and dumb down that little bit of that bitterness, to try make it more palatable. So there's nothing I enjoy more now than a short black or a ristretto, where I treat with my MetaLisse, and it just brings out the flavors, and you don't have that harsh acidy taste hanging on your palate. So tea, coffees, sodas, any of that, so fruit juices, smoothies, they all benefit from the application of MetaLisse.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And can you also tell us, Ray, how long does the MetaLisse card last?
Okay, so if we were, commercial pirates here, we could sell you a card and say you must buy another one within 12 months because it's run out. But as part of our corporate responsibility, we have to be honest. And honestly, if you've got a MetaLisse card and you look after it, you'll never have to buy another one.
Wow.
Bioresonance is permanently embedded into the card, and it would be like having a tap at the bottom of the Hoover Dam and have it running all the time. You'll never empty the dam. It's the same with MetaLisse. You'll never empty the card. During our experimental cards, which I've still got some of, we had they'd be getting up to do 8-10 years old, some of them now, and still just as strong as they ever were. So,
Wow, this is great for the average consumer. They want to know that. So if they look after their MetaLisse card, they don't lose it. It's going to last a lifetime, right?
that's it. Yes.
That's what they want
Of
to hear.
course, the story is like I have one I keep in my pocket, goes with me everywhere I go. There's one on the kitchen bench. There's sort of scattered throughout the house. We have about 3 or 4, so that wherever you happen to be, if you happen to sit in the lounge and maybe decide, oh, I'm just going to have a nice cup of coffee and watch a little bit of television, my MetaLisse card is there, ready to treat the coffee or my nice glass of red wine.
Well, Ray, thank you so much for answering all those questions. I'm sure our viewers will appreciate it, because for them, it's an absolutely new technology. And I'm sure that many of them are going to be very excited to experience that for themselves. So Ray Richardson from Brisbane, Australia, thank you so much for your time.
Rita, thank you. And head off now and enjoy a nice glass of red wine that's been enhanced by MetaLisse. Everyone needs one.
Good on you, Ray. You enjoy that. You've deserved it. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.